Sometimes I feel the fear of uncertainty stinging clear, and I can't help but ask myself, how come I let the fear take the wheel and steer? It's driven me before, and it seems to have a very haunting mass appeal. Lately, I'm beginning to find that I should be the one behind the wheel. Whatever tomorrow brings, I'll be there, with open arms and open eyes, yeah. Whatever tomorrow brings, I'll be there, I'll be there.
That's an affirmation right there. Whatever tomorrow brings, I'll be there with open arms and open eyes. How about that? Yes. Whatever tomorrow brings, whatever tomorrow brings. Well, you know, we are here to create a movement grounded in love and kindness that transforms us, our community, and the world. I love that too as an affirmation. You want to say it together? So let's pray this morning as we begin, by taking a deep breath in and out, and acknowledging first that freedom begins in our hearts. Freedom really doesn't begin with some proclamation. It may start a movement, but freedom happens in the heart. Freedom happens with acceptance. Freedom happens with respect and kindness and recognition that there is no difference between us. There is no difference in any single human being from the next. There are different experiences, for sure. There are differences in the way we're treated. But we know, and I hope we know, that true freedom and true peace and true kindness all begins in our heart. And that we can be instrumental in shifting the energy into true equality, into true respect for all, by adopting that in our own lives, by feeling it in our own hearts, by allowing the power and the presence of God to guide us, to strengthen us, to infuse us with exactly that. So grateful for the recognition, grateful for the acknowledgement, and with a deep understanding that the work is still in progress and that we have a part to play. And so it is. Amen.
Sunshine trying to creep on through. Lost sleep, but I found her too. Stuck inside my head. Cigarettes and a tank of gas. I'm headed off and nowhere fast. Gotta find a way to make this feeling last. 'Cause I believe that I was born with a song inside of me. Never questioned why. I just kept on chasing that melody as time goes by. It's funny how time can make you realize we're running out of heat on the day that I die. I wanna say that I was a man who really lived and never compromised. And while I live out my days until the very end, you can find me in my home, a guitar in my hands. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah. Thank you, Jared. the way I listen to what people say, but do you put yourself in that position when he tells that story? Yeah. Because it's like his story, but it's our story too, right? Yeah. Maybe the guitar part, no. But you have to insert whatever that is for you, right? You have to insert that for you. Because you know my saying about that is anything can happen to anybody at any time. So, you know. But that's not what was on my mind this week. One day I'm going to do that. I keep threatening to say I'm not going to prepare a message at all. I'm just going to go with whatever comes up and see how long I can talk. I think I could fill 15, 20 minutes easy. Yeah, you're all like, please don't do that. We could be here forever. So I was thinking about this week. I was like, is there a randomness to life? Like, do things happen randomly? Or is there like an intelligence of the universe that there's some sort of plan? You know, I was thinking about the difference, because sometimes when you look out in the world, or when I look out in the world, things seem random. Like, who wins the lottery? Like, that seems pretty random, right? Or who gets this strange, debilitating terminal illness? Like, doesn't it seem random to you? Who gets on the plane that goes down? Is that random? You know, the fact that it took 16 months for my knee to heal the way I wanted to do, is that just a random thing? Like, I'm wondering about that. Is it random? And then I thought, well, maybe nothing is random. You know, that was the other side of things. I was like, maybe nothing is random. Maybe there is an intelligence in the universe, not like a pre-plan, like destiny, like you can't change anything, this is your life and that's just the way it is. Not that kind of plan, but some kind of underlying vibration in the universe that makes it that nothing is random. Absolutely nothing is random. Like maybe, just maybe, everything that's happening in the world is happening according to our level of awareness and our ability to express the divine nature that we are. Everything. And I was like, so that was what I was thinking about this morning. And don't you know, Johnny sends me this thing from Facebook that talks about random. I'm like, I guess I need to be talking about random today. But here's the thing. As I started to uncover this in me, and this was a difficult message for me to write because I feel like it might not make any sense to anybody else. So stick with me a little bit here. But I started off with John Donne's quote that goes like this, one that you've heard before. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. You've heard that quote before, haven't you? Debbie has, she's into poetry and that sort of thing. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man and woman is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. And I think that's true both in a physical sense and a spiritual sense. Here's an example. You know, we think we're so darn independent. I've talked about that before from up here. And I was thinking this week, okay, you think you're independent, you think you're not dependent on anybody? Stop going to the grocery store and grow 100% of your food by yourself. Yeah, not going to happen, right? You say. Even the rancher out in Texas who has cattle, you know, how many steaks can you eat and where does the grain come from that they eat? Like, we're all interconnected on a physical level. There's no separation. The minute I think that I've accomplished everything by myself is the minute that you can just walk out of here and stop listening to what I have to say. It's not true. It's not true. And I think this idea is also true in the physical, in the spiritual sense. And we talk about it in New Thought about this idea of oneness, like we are all connected all of the time. Like there's no separation. But what in the world does that really mean? You know, say, yeah, we're all one. You know, well, what does it mean? Well, I have a couple metaphors that I want to share to you that informed me, like, how to think about this. Instead of having some ethereal kind of, oh yeah, it's what it means, we're all one. You've heard of starlings. Have you ever seen on YouTube the movement of starlings, a flock or a group of starlings? How many people know what I'm talking about, starlings? All right, they're these birds, and there can be anywhere between 500 to 1 million of them, and they fly through the sky doing all these crazy things, and they're just totally in synchrony with each other. Like it's jaw-dropping. 500 to 1 million birds. And that movement of those birds, you have to Google it if you haven't seen it. It's just truly amazing. That movement is called a murmuration. It's a murmuration of these birds moving. They don't hit into each other. They're huge. They move crazily. And this is. I want to read you this. Visually, starlings are really good at being able to understand what's happening around them. And they also have a strong motor response to adjust to it. Of course, in the middle of 1 million birds, each starling isn't aware of everybody else in the murmuration. All right, so the bird that's here, then there's 3,000 birds over that way. Well, you don't know that, but here. It says when they did 3D reconstructions of those murmurations, they noticed that every bird interacts with and moves according to its nearest 6 or 7 neighbors. That's how it works. So these 6 or 7 are moving around in this way, and these next ones, and then you can see like it's all connected. 500 or 1 million birds, and they're flying through the sky that way, and they don't crash and fall out. So I'm wondering if oneness kind of is like that. If you're not familiar with murmurations, what about schools of fish? Right? You've seen those on video too, haven't you? Going through the water like it seems like 1 million miles an hour, they don't crash. One little guppy just doesn't drown and get run over. I mean, it doesn't happen in these schools of fish. And they move according to the waves and the flow of water around them. And they actually have pressure-sensitive pores along their lateral body to help them with that. And I'm wondering, is that what oneness is? Does that kind of tell me some information about how oneness is in our spiritual life? Because these birds and these fish cannot participate in that murmuration or in that school of fish movement without knowing what's happening around them, without having the awareness of what's right around them, and what's right around them affects thousands of birds or fish away. And I'm thinking that's how oneness works. I'm thinking that's how our spiritual oneness works. But you know what? We spend a lot of time as human beings creating us and them. We don't spend a lot of time vibrating here and noticing what 7 or 8 around us are doing. We like to separate ourselves out all the time. You think about how many times a day, I was thinking for myself, how many times a day, oh, them over there, oh, he over there, oh, those people over there. We do it all the time. We are moving in synchrony to those beliefs. We're moving in synchrony to what we believe, what we feel, how we talk about other people, how we treat other people, what we say about them, how we judge them, how we love them. We create that around us, and it vibrates out, and those fish around us and those other birds around us vibrate that. And so I think that on a oneness level, we have created the consciousness, and the result is what we see in the world. The result is what we see in the world. Do we see kindness? Heck yeah. On Saturday, we saw a lot of kindness. We also see the war in Ukraine. We also see hate crime. We also see people being judged for their decisions that they make in life. All the time. We exercise our free will, and this is the result. The world is the result of our decisions. My decisions, your decisions, the way you treat, the way I talk, the way I think, all of it. So when we look out in the world and say, I wish they would do something about that, we should be looking in the mirror. Because it's not them, it's us. What about those people? Oh, no, there aren't those people. There's only us. We're responsible, and I think we're responsible to get a better balance in the universe, in the universal consciousness, because I don't know about you, but I don't like the way things are going. And it's not for somebody else to fix. There's not anybody else. There's us. Just like the starling, just like the fish. There's nobody else to look for. Like I said, I think we have a responsibility to make that happen. I think that's what we're here to do. You can call it to raise the consciousness of the planet so that we get a different result. Unless you're happy with the result. And if you say, well, I'm happy with the result in my community or my family, well, I'm sorry, we're connected to everything else. So if you're happy here, it's pretty limited. You know, if one fish said that, the whole school would be drowning. If one bird said, well, I'm okay with just this, it wouldn't work. There would be no murmuration. You know, there would be no murmuration. Here's another way to think about it. Another way that I thought of, another metaphor for you. And it's called the butterfly effect. You heard of the butterfly effect? Somebody? Nobody? All right, well, I get to tell you about it then. So, well, I was going to tell you anyway, right? So there was a meteorologist by the name of Edward Lorenz, and he was interested in improving long-range weather forecasting. That's what he wanted to do. He was like, there's got to be some way that we can predict weather patterns long-range more accurately. Well, we know, how accurate weather predictions are, right? We're all, the joke about be a weatherman, you'll always be wrong and you'll still have a job, right? So, but he wanted to improve that. And so he was a scientist, he was a meteorologist, and so he put these models together. He was trying to figure out a way to do it. Come to find out for him, he was like, no way. There's no way that it's going to happen, because you know what? A butterfly can flap its wings in the Amazon forest and the weather in China would be affected. That was the way he presented it, right? But what does that mean? What does that mean? What it really means is that everything that happens is in this moment is a result of what has accumulated up to now. Every thought, every word, every action has accumulated to this result. And not just this result here, but on the planet, in the world. Some actions, some words, result in huge shifts. And some don't even show up as a blip. But there is a small blip, right? Don't even show up in our awareness, but it's still there. That's the power of what happens. All of it has an impact. All of it has an impact. Just like with the starlings, just like with the fish, now we can see with this butterfly effect and this idea that no matter what we individually do or say or be or think, it affects the whole. So the good news is we can change the consciousness of the planet. We don't have to accept the result that we have been experiencing. We do not have to accept violence and hate and guns and injustice and inequality. We don't have to accept it. And if you want to march about that, that's great. But what I'm saying is you got to vibrate so that the fish around you start vibrating in a way that changes the whole. That's the power of it. That's the power of it. And that is, to me, speaks to this idea of oneness. So what do we do about it? Like, that's always the thing that I'm interested in when I have these thoughts and I'm thinking, so what's that mean? What does that mean, really? I think the first and foremost I've already really mentioned, and that is stop making the whole world about us and them. There is no us and them. Every time I catch myself, every time I caught myself this week, I'm like, oh. And it was many times, by the way. The people who have, the people who don't have. All this self-talk separating us all. Like, we have to stop that. Those of us who are aware need to stop it. Just stop separating the world into us and them, because that's not what it's about. You are the butterfly, you are the fish, you are the starling. Stop it. You'll notice if you dedicate yourself to becoming aware. Just become aware. There are those people who struggled with knee surgery and those who didn't. No, there's just all of us together. Like, it just helps me to begin to really live oneness, not just talk about it as if it's some idea that's really cool and new age or new thought, but to really live it. Those who need help and those who give help. No, that's not even true. That's the experience that people have, but the truth is, we're all one. Maybe it's a nuance to you or to me, but I believe it's important. This book has been blowing my mind, Love Without End, Jesus Speaks by Glenda Green. And Jesus gives some answers to healing our life, okay, in this regard. And I want to share these few ideas with you. He says, the answers to healing your life will be found in the inner strength of your heart, of course. We're not talking about marching is fine. That's fine. Speaking up for injustice is fine. Real change happens that originates in the heart. He said, so here's what I'll give you. I'll give you 3 practices. See, there's only 3 practices. This is all you have to do. How about that? Pretty simple. Not a big class. Not something you have to pay to go to. I'm going to give them to you right now. And they're things you've heard. Sorry. Nothing brand new, but important. I'll give you 3 practices. The first is to strengthen all of your positive emotions through daily gratitude and admiration. Now, you've heard of daily gratitude before, and sometimes we just want to write it down and get on with it. Well, no. Daily gratitude, the feeling of gratitude, and also admiration. I love this piece of it. What is the last thing you really admired throughout your day, like in a daily life kind of thing, like admire? I think that is profound, just that word. Maybe we're tired of hearing gratitude, but to practice admiration. The second is to disempower your negative emotions. So that's how you empower your positive emotions. To disempower your negative emotions, you do that through daily forgiveness. And the third practice is innocent perception. This daily forgiveness thing is huge. It's huge, it's huge, it's huge. And we resist it to no end because we make it mean something it doesn't mean. He says it often, and you hear it from me too. Let it go. Let it go. I don't care what it is. Let it go. David Owen Rinson, Keys to the Kingdom, says, the statute of limitations has expired on most of your childhood dramas. Let it go. Oh, my parents this. Oh, this happened in college. You know what? Let it go. Get some therapy if you need it, but let it go. Get in a group to help you do it, but let it go. Let it go I've decided, is not butterfly wings. Let it go is condor wings, It's like whoosh, whoosh. Huge effect. Huge effect. The bird with the largest wingspan? I looked it up because you can have the Google tell you just about anything. It's the wandering albatross. It has like a 14-foot wingspan. Whoosh, whoosh. Like, can you imagine that? That's what I think of as forgiveness. I think that's the power of forgiveness. To let it go. Otherwise, we will continue to get the result we keep getting in the world. That's the other option. So if you want to contribute to a world that is kinder, is richer for everybody, is all about equality and respect, practice some forgiveness. For all of it. All of it. all the time. Daily. He said these are daily practices. And the third one is this idea of innocent perception, and I gave a lesson on that from this pulpit a while back. And to boil down innocent perception is simply this. We've got to get in a place within ourselves to accept the way things are in the moment. Not that they won't change, not that we won't work for change, because certainly forgiveness is a way to change. But to stop resisting what is present. It was the whole idea behind nonviolence. Martin Luther King Jr. about the season of nonviolence. Stop resisting. He knew to the core of his being that the way to change the civil rights movement, to engage in the civil rights movement, was not with force. It was with non-resistance and nonviolence. There have been many people who have come who've shown us that. Do we want to do that? No, we want to resist. We want to get out there and do this, do this. Well, you stand up, yes, but with an open heart. Resistance hasn't worked. Look around. Look around the world. Look in your life. Has resistance worked for you? I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, the bottom line today really is that we each supremely influence the whole. And the result that we have in the world right now is on our shoulders. My shoulders and your shoulders. And we have the ability to change it by doing these simple things that are powerful beyond measure. When we do this, my belief is that the love that we came from and the love that we are become known in the world in a way that we cannot imagine. So our work is simply to practice. Really. And this is the closest that I've gotten to understanding oneness. Maybe it's helped you. Maybe you're like, I don't know, I need to look up starlings. I don't know, whatever works for you, right? But I think the three practices that Jesus recommends are a great place to start, whether we understand oneness any better from this message or not. Yeah, I hope you do. I'm still understanding it and trying and making an effort to live it myself in my best moments. And other moments, well, you can talk to Renee about those. She can tell you about those. So let's have some meditation time this afternoon. Maybe you like the word murmuration. Maybe the butterfly effect speaks to you. Maybe you just want to feel your connection to the universe. You know, the Hindu god Indra talked about casting his jeweled net as an expression of our connectedness. At each intersection, at each node in the net is a jewel. And each one of those jewels is representative of each human being. And the net is incomplete except for the existence of each of those jewels. And each reflects the other. So there's the fourth metaphor for you. Let's take a deep breath in and out. And sit for a while. To bask for a while in the oneness that we are. out our meditation time together this afternoon, I want to share one more story about forgiveness. You know, on Friday was the 7th anniversary of the murders of the Bible group who were studying at Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina. 7 years it's been. And I remember speaking at Unity Church in Raleigh very soon after that. There's a lot of angst with the African American community in that church. And some of the angst was about what this one person understood or believed, that black folks are supposed to be the people that forgive. Because as you might recall, there were people in that community who lost their friends and relatives, who said very publicly that they forgave the murderer. How could it be, she said, that we are expected to do that? You know what I said? I said, that is the greatest example of the living God and love itself on the planet. There's no expectation that that happen. There is a freedom and a demonstration of love that happened. And it's beautiful. So with that in mind, let's finish our meditation now with a deep breath in and out, with a softened heart and an open mind and an awareness of all living things and beings around us, and a commitment to lifting the spirit of all that is on a daily basis. Amen.
Before I play this song, give you a little history lesson behind it. The author of this song was a very prominent figure in the transatlantic slave trade. Had to change a heart in his life, and he wrote this song. But what makes this song special is the way he wrote this song. You see, back then, the black people that made music always wrote music on the black keys of a piano. That's where we get Negro spirituals from. So after he had his change of heart, he wrote this song using only the black keys of the piano. And I think we all know this song. I'm only going to do 2 verses. So if you know it, sing along with me. because you can't have forgiveness without grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Thank you so much, Jared. I didn't know the story. Who knew the story behind that song? Olivia did. A couple people did. I didn't know the story. Thank you for sharing that. It made it much more profound, didn't it? It made it, yeah. Always good to know. Yeah, thank you. Well, let's close as we say together this prayer. And remember, you're the fish, you're the bird, you're the butterfly when you say this, right? So know it, make it powerful. You can make it powerful. So let's say, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all be well. May all be peaceful and at ease. May all be happy. Amen.